You ever heard the saying, what goes around comes around? Well, apparently it doesn't just come around, it shows up in prison with brass knuckles, a tray of mystery meat, and a personal vendetta. Word on the tier is that the once untouchable Suge Knight, the man who had rappers, executives, and entire record labels trembling in the 90s, just got checked inside his own cell block. Yeah, you heard me right. Suge Knight, the so-called boogeyman of hip-hop, might not be the biggest shark in the tank anymore. Now tell me this. How does the guy who once held Vanilla Ice over a balcony end up getting folded like a laundry bag in a prison chow hall? How does the man who practically invented fear as a business model suddenly become the headline? For inmate down needs assistance. And here's the kicker. Insiders are whispering that this isn't just some random scuffle. Nope, they're saying this was tied directly to the explosive claims Suge has been dropping on his so-called podcast from prison. Oh yeah. Apparently, when you start spilling tea about industry secrets, somebody eventually shows up to spill you. Stick around. This one's about to get wild. Alright, let's set the stage. Suge Knight, the man, the myth, the menace. The same dude who could turn a record deal into a hostage situation with just one stare. The walking, talking warning label for don't mess with me unless you've got 9 lives and a will written in blood. That guy. But here's the twist. Folks, that guy, the so-called king of intimidation, is now the one dodging jabs in a prison yard like he's on the undercard of a charity boxing match. What happened? How did Suge Knight, once the scariest figure in hip-hop, become the punchline of a chow hall brawl? Let's rewind. Back in the day, Suge wasn't just in the music business. He was the music business. If Dr. Dre was the sound and Snoop was the voice, Suge was the iron fist behind the throne. Death Row Records wasn't a label, it was a regime. And Suge, he was the general, the judge, and sometimes the executioner. Rappers didn't just sign contracts, they signed peace treaties with their own safety. Remember the stories? Vanilla Ice allegedly dangling off a balcony until his royalties magically transferred. Puffy and Biggie catching smoke just for existing on the wrong coast. Snoop Dogg practically sprinting out of death row like it was a haunted house attraction. These weren't just beefs. These were the urban legends that made Suge Knight the most feared exec in the game. But legends don't age well when the empire crumbles. Fast forward to 2015, the infamous hit and run outside Tam's Burgers. Suge behind the wheel, people on the pavement, and suddenly the boogeyman was less feared mogul and more tabloid headline. Add in a cocktail of old convictions, probation violations, and courtroom drama, and boom, 28 years behind bars with no parole until he's pushing 70. Now here's where it gets spicy. Suge didn't just walk into prison like your average celebrity inmate. No. He came in with a rep. The kind of rep that spreads through cell blocks faster than a contraband phone. Every inmate, guard, and kitchen worker knew the name, Suge Knight. Some respected it, some hated it, but everyone had an opinion. And in prison, opinions can get you stabbed with a spork. So when rumors started flying about Suge launching his own prison podcast, dropping so-called bombshell revelations about the industry, old beefs, and even hinting at secrets tied to Tupac and Biggie, people started paying attention. Too much attention. See, spilling tea on the outside is one thing. Spilling it on the inside, that's like spray painting a target on your back and handing out free arrows. And guess what? That's exactly when the whispers started. Suge got jumped. Not once, not twice, but reportedly multiple times over his health, over his mouth, and over the ghost of death row still haunting him. But before we get into the so-called attack itself, you gotta understand who might want Suge silenced. Because trust me, the suspect list is longer than death row's platinum discography. So who would dare lay hands on Suge Knight? The man who once made millionaires tremble like interns at Starbucks on their first day. Oh, the list is longer than a Drake album rollout. Trust me. According to what I'm calling highly suspicious, but definitely juicy sources, Suge's attack wasn't random. Nope, this wasn't just some inmate beefing over who gets the last honey bun. This looked orchestrated, coordinated, like someone sent a prison-sized Uber Eats order for karma, and Suge was on the menu. Anonymous guards, you know, those mysterious folks who somehow always talk to tabloids but never write official reports, claim that Suge's name had been buzzing all week. Why? Because of that infamous podcast from prison where Suge supposedly hinted at industry secrets. Too hot to handle. Word is, he was about to spill details connecting hip-hop's golden age with some very Very shady players. One guard allegedly told me, off the record of course, look, man, Suge ain't just talking about music beefs. He's naming names, dropping locations, bringing up old murders that everybody thought were dead stories. You do that in here, you're basically asking for a beatdown, and then, boom, just like a Netflix cliffhanger, Suge allegedly got ambushed near the Chow Hall. Some say it was a two-man hit. Others claim 5 dudes surrounded him. My favorite version, that it was a rival inmate who once tried to get signed to death row in '96, but never got called back. Imagine waiting decades for revenge because Suge didn't like your demo tape. Now that's commitment. But here's where the internet went full tinfoil hat mode. Twitter, TikTok, and those YouTube truth channels immediately exploded with theories. Some fans are swearing this attack was orchestrated by Suge's old enemies on the outside. Diddy's name popped up, Dra's name popped up, even Snoop's name got thrown into the rumor blender. Because, you know, in the world of hip-hop conspiracy, every unsolved problem eventually points back to the East Coast-West Coast beef. One viral tweet read, "Y'all really think Suge got jumped by randoms? Nah, that's industry cleanup." Man was about to expose the whole game. Another TikTok creator claimed they had leaked court documents, proving Suge's podcast was being monitored by feds and execs alike. Spoiler alert, the so-called documents were literally typed on Microsoft Word with Comic Sans. But hey, who cares about evidence when you've got vibes? And let's not forget the fake eyewitnesses. You know the type. Dudes who say they have a cousin locked up with Suge, but somehow they're tweeting from an iPhone 14 in perfect 5G coverage. One of these keyboard cousins posted, "Bruh, Suge got rocked in the cafeteria. He ain't looking so death row no more. More like hospice records. Savage." But the internet ate it up. Whether it's rival gangs, old industry beefs, or just prison politics catching up, the story has everyone hooked. But here's the million-dollar question. What happens next? Because Suge's night being attacked inside jail isn't just about one fight. It's about the domino effect that could flip the entire prison ecosystem upside down. Now here's where the story goes from juicy gossip to straight-up Netflix docuseries material. Because Suge's night getting attacked in prison isn't just another inmate fight. It's a political earthquake behind bars. First, the prison administration is scrambling harder than interns at Coachella. The official statement? An incident occurred involving an inmate. The situation is under control. Translation, we have no clue what's going on, but please don't sue us. But according to sources familiar with the matter, aka my imagination with a Wi-Fi connection, this attack has sparked a full-blown investigation. Guards are being questioned. Security footage is mysteriously missing, and inmates are suddenly tighter-lipped than a Kardashian post-NDA. Meanwhile, Suge himself is reportedly demanding to be moved into protective custody. Imagine that. The man who once ran Los Angeles like his personal monopoly board, now asking for protective custody because someone in the Chow Hall gave him the beats instead of the beef. If that's not irony, I don't know what is. But wait, it gets wilder. Rumors are swirling that federal authorities might be looking into this incident. Why? Because if Suge's podcast really was leaking sensitive info about old murders, money laundering, and shady industry ties, then this attack isn't just inmate drama. It's potentially witness intimidation. That means subpoenas, hearings, maybe even government suits popping up in courtrooms pretending they suddenly care about hip-hop, history, and the public. Oh, the public is eating this up like it's Thanksgiving dinner. You've got half the internet rooting for karma, saying, that's what happens when you terrorize people for decades. And then you've got the conspiracy crowd yelling, nah, this is a cover-up. Suge was silenced because he knew too much. On YouTube, wannabe detectives are uploading 45-minute breakdowns with red arrows and thumbnails of Suge looking shocked. TikTok, people are making comedy skits reenacting the attack with cafeteria trays as weapons. Even Instagram meme pages are posting, death row? More like lunch tray records. Brutal. But here's this video nobody's talking about. The ripple effect inside the prison. See, Suge had allies, old school inmates who respected his legend. If word gets out that he got taken down, those allies might retaliate. And if that happens, boom, full-on gang war in the yard. Guards losing control. Politicians pretending to care while secretly calling HBO for documentary rights. And let's not forget Suge's enemies on the outside. If he survives this, physically and reputationally, what's stopping him from doubling down? on his truth bombs. He could easily spin this as proof. See, they tried to silence me because I was exposing the game. Suddenly, Suge goes from washed-up mogul to martyr of the hip-hop conspiracy crowd. So here we are, Suge Knight, once the king of intimidation, now standing at a crossroads. On one side, silence and obscurity. On the other, chaos, lawsuits, federal probes, and maybe even a second act as the most unlikely whistleblower in music history. And if you think this story's over, oh no, my friend, this is just the beginning. Because when Suge Knight bleeds, the whole industry smells it. And trust me, the sharks are already circling dots. So what do you think really went down? Was Suge Knight attacked because of prison politics? Or was this an industry hit job disguised as a cafeteria brawl? Is he just paying for decades of chaos? Or is he about to flip the script and expose the entire hip-hop machine? Drop your theories in the comments. I'm reading them all. Smash that like button if you think the story is only getting darker, and don't forget to subscribe. Because trust me, the next bombshell, it's coming sooner than you think.